We've got some great PlayStation 4 game deals available right now. So in this video, we're gonna take a look at 10 awesome PS4 game deals available right now. Let's get right into this. Doom for $5. Doom is an awesome first-person shooter that was released last year among a wave of excellent first-person shooters, but the difference with Doom was that its star component was the single player. Doom's got a multiplayer component, and that's fine and nice and all, but the single player is where this game really shines. It's not your typical 4 to 6 hour single player campaign. No, it's like an 8 to 12 hour experience. It's got some great pacing, it looks great, and it runs really well on the PS4. You can find Doom for $5 at your local RedBox.
Demonic threat reduced by 25%.
Final Fantasy 15 for $10. Final Fantasy 15 has one of the most publicized and chaotic development cycles a game has ever seen. It was originally announced back in 2006 as Final Fantasy Versus 13, and it took 10 years to finally get the game out, and it changed names during that process and went through a hell of a transformation, but Final Fantasy 15 was finally released in 2016, and it was a great game that visually looked spectacular, the gameplay was solid. The only real drawback of Final Fantasy 15 was from a storytelling standpoint. It was just disjointed on that end, but for just $10 at your local RedBox, it is a steal.
Your journey can be shared on social networks.
This one's pretty good. I dig it too.
Gladio is Noctis' eldest companion, and his family has long served as the shield protecting the kings of Lucis. However, the bond Gladio shares with Noctis transcends that of a bodyguard and his liege.
I gotcha!
Gladio's strength means he can charge at the enemy's ranks and wreak havoc over a wide area. As a survivalist, Gladio will retrieve ever more useful items.
Agents of Mayhem for $5. Agents of Mayhem was the latest game from Volition, and if you don't know who Volition are, those are the guys behind the great Saints Row titles. Agents of Mayhem is actually set in the same universe, and when you take a look at the game, you can see that it has that same third-person zany gameplay. Agents of Mayhem had its issues, but at this price point at your local RedBox for just $5, it is a great deal.
Dr. Babylon crawling is in the brain. Somebody gonna cap.
Bringing out the big gun.
I do my own stunts.
It's the Agents of Mayhem.
Don't want to hog the limelight.
Overwatch Game of the Year Edition for $30. I mentioned that Doom was among a wave of excellent first-person shooters released in 2016. Well, one of those excellent first-person shooters was Overwatch, a terrific game by Blizzard that had a lot of depth, while also being very engaging to more casual gamers. It really fulfills both sides of the coin. You can play this game as more of a casual first-person shooter, or if you want to delve real deep into it, figure out all the mechanics behind the game, there is a lot of time you can spend in Overwatch to really perfect your gameplay. Overwatch typically doesn't go on sale often, so while $30 is still a little steep, given the price point that this game has been at, it's a pretty good deal and it's available for that price on PSN. Dishonored II for $15. Dishonored was one of the excellent new IPs introduced last generation, and with Dishonored II, Arcane Studios continued the excellent foundation that they set with Dishonored. It's a more robust and complete experience with more depth in its gameplay, more upgrade options, and what's retained is the great aesthetical style and awesome storytelling, and for just $15 at your local RedBox, it is a fantastic deal.
Lost your throne and your father. And I promise, Delilah won't just give them back.
No!
So, what are you prepared to do about it, Your Imperial Majesty?
Rise of the Tomb Raider for $15. Rise of the Tomb Raider was originally released on Xbox One in 2015. PlayStation gamers had to wait a year to get Rise of the Tomb Raider on their platform, but it came out really well. And Rise of the Tomb Raider is such a great game. If you enjoyed the Tomb Raider reboot that released back in 2013, then Rise of the Tomb Raider is going to be right up your alley because it's a better game than that entry in every category. It looks better, has more depth in its gameplay, tells a better story with a far better antagonist. It's just a better all-around experience over the first title, and for just $15 at your local RedBox, you should definitely check it out. Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age for $35. Many consider Final Fantasy XII to be the black sheep of the Final Fantasy franchise, but that opinion seemed to change with the release of Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age, which is odd because the Zodiac Age is definitely the definitive version of Final Fantasy XII, but it doesn't revolutionize the gameplay in any way. Coming from someone that really enjoyed Final Fantasy XII when it came out back in 2006, I would highly recommend Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age. In my opinion, Final Fantasy XII was already a great game with a ton of content. The issue a lot of gamers had with it at the time was the different gameplay style. It played more like an MMO, but now with the evolution of Final Fantasy, I think that style it can be more appreciated. But with the evolution of Final Fantasy, I think now in 2017, that style can be more appreciated. And the other issue was the lackluster main character. Yes, Vaughn is not the best main character in the world, but the overall story Final Fantasy XII tells is still pretty good. And for $35 on Amazon, once again, relatively expensive, but this is more of a recent release, so you can understand, and it's still very much worth that price.
She will not rest until her revenge is full wrought.
True day-affected Nethicite, the power of the Dynast King in my hands.
There is a place for all things, even danger such as this.
The gods have chosen their scribe to write history as they deem fit.
What madness found you there?
No matter how hard we try, there's nothing.
Dragon Quest Heroes 2 Explorers Edition for $29. Dragon Quest Heroes 2 is a Dynasty Warrior style game with a Dragon Quest skin. You can't really say much more about it. If you're into the chaotic action games that Dynasty Warriors and the Tecmo Koei titles fulfill, then Dragon Quest Heroes 2 is gonna be right up your alley. If you're a fan of Dragon Quest or a fan of the action-heavy Tecmo Koei games, then Dragon Quest Heroes 2 is gonna be up your alley, and $29 on Amazon is a relatively decent deal.
I can't just stand by and do nothing while Denizia and Harbour tear each other apart.
Fire!
What on earth is happening to our world?
These people are in danger. Let's do what we were trained to do.
You're right.
Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege for $20. Many would consider Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege to be one of the best, if not the best, first-person shooter released this generation. It is that good, and Ubisoft has done a great job with keeping the game updated and fresh. Rainbow Six Siege really highlights tactical gameplay and teamwork. This is a game that's best played with a couple of friends. You all join a party and you actually communicate to achieve your objective. On release, a $60 price point was a little high. The game doesn't have a traditional single-player mode, so you've only got the multiplayer to really work with, but that multiplayer is absolutely excellent, and now it's only $20 at GameStop. This is an excellent price and highly worth it. Follow my lead. And finally, Knack II for $10. Knack was one of the PlayStation 4 launch titles, and so many were looking forward to that game. Unfortunately, it didn't really live up to the anticipation. It had some amazing visuals, but it really lagged behind from a gameplay standpoint. Surprisingly, Sony did put out a sequel in Knack II, And it did release at a budget price point, now even lower of course, and expectations for Knack II were fairly low, but it's a decent game. If you're a fan of quirky platformers, Knack II is a title you should check out on the cheap, and considering it's only $10 at your local RedBox, this is definitely not a bad price.
There's a defend. Look, they've knocked away some of my Knack skin.
We died.
We died. Just to show you the game is not messing around.
The combat is actually.
All right, I'm gonna take out the. I'm gonna focus on these long-range foes. There you go. Look at that. Now that was cooperation.
That's right. What could go wrong? Yeah, the combat in this game is no joke.
No, it doesn't mess around. So yeah, I was saying there's dodge, there's a block, there's a parry if you time it well enough. Boom, boom. Oh, I got hit. I got hit. My perfect streak is over.
So that wraps up 10 excellent PS4 game deals available right now. What do you think? Are you picking any of these up? Let us know in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.